guys suspended. They had to give up games. It was a nightmare heading into it. So many distractions off the field. Similar to Coosa Christian. Very similar, eerily similar to what Coosa went through this year. But they responded in a positive way last year and made a playoff run. But now, not only have they made a playoff run, they're sitting here with a full arsenal all season. And when you put up numbers like 42.5 points per game and only allowing 7.2, Caleb, I'm sorry. I'm a heavy lean on Mobile Christian this week.
Yeah, there's not. I mean,
a heavy lean.
I'm not a big fan of playing the, hey, well, so-and-so beat so-and-so by this many and this team lost to so, but Mobile Christian beat Thomasville 45-14, and it really wasn't that close in that game. And St. James was very lucky that Thomasville didn't kick extra points last week. It would have been a tie game at the end. So the game's at Mobile Christian. It's a long trip for St. James. We don't pick games. It's going to be very tough for St. James to go down there and win on Friday night. And
we don't pick games, but if we tell you we're a heavy lean on somebody, you better lean.
Yeah,
you better lean.
Yeah, we're leaning towards Mobile Christian. I can tell you that. And it's no knock on St. James. What they've done, what Coach Perry did down there, and then now he's passed it off to this new coach that they have. Very impressive. He also did it at a time where what Montgomery, private schools weren't winning a ton. Now all of a sudden we've seen Academy play for it. Catholics played for it. Trinity was right there last week with a chance to get. I mean, all those teams have stepped up, and it's changed a lot down there.
If you look at the North, I wouldn't put any money on that game.
No, Madison County,
what Michael Davis and them's about to do, and I wouldn't touch that game. But down there,
it's weird because about 5 weeks ago, if you'd asked us, we'd been like, Madison Academy is the going away favorite, in 3A. But here recently, we've kind of seen there's some chinks in the armor with them, and especially after they beat Westminster Christian. When they beat them, the way they beat them, it was kind of like, ooh, okay, this is going to be tough. But
the man that just walked out of here left the blueprint.
Oh yeah, no, he did. I mean, they had, and he told us leaving, he's like, it's going to hurt because we had plenty of chances to win that game,
That's right.
and they didn't. And we could have gotten the rematch that we all kind of expected at one time this year, but should be a fun game.
Carlos Mann sitting there going.
Yeah, but should be a fun game between Madison Academy and Geraldine. We've already heard Bo and Coach Van talk about that one, so not going to spend a lot of time on that game. But Bo, looking down at 4A South, Booker T. Washington, the surprise team in the whole entire state. There's not a bigger surprise than Booker T. Washington sitting here playing in the semifinals. They get a rematch now with Montgomery Catholic. Here's the scary thing. For Montgomery Catholic, they've been a part of these rematches now for 3 years in a row. And played Montgomery Academy a few years ago, beat them 42-0 in the regular season, got beat in the semifinals. Played Andalusia last year, beat them, got beat in the semifinals. Here's now their chance to kind of get over that hump and get back into a state championship game.
Caleb, I ain't supposed to be biased, but I'm biased. Juice Johnson is one of my really good friends. I went to his mother's funeral, and I hate to say this, is like the memory come up on Facebook today. Is 1 year ago today. I went to his mom's funeral. But, in talking to him this week, he didn't want the media attention. He's turned down a lot of interviews this week with a lot of other media outlets, so I feel honored that he actually took our interview. But, he said it best. He said, I said, Coach, you guys beat them, 56-6 in the regular season. And I'm like, you got to feel good. He goes, nope, sure don't. I don't feel good at all. And I was like, why not? He said, Bo, rewind the clock 2 years.
Yeah.
He said, Bo, you was at our Andalusia game last year. In the regular season, we beat them handily, got beat. Year before, 42-0?
42-0 against Academy, and then got beat 10-7.
And got beat 10-7. He said, so nope, until that horn sounds and we're headed to Bright Denny, no.
Yeah.
And he said, it is what it is. I'm not talking about nobody. And I said, Coach, this is the worst team you've had in 3 years. On paper, it is the worst team he's had in 3 years, but it's the best team he has. It's the most bought in, it's the hardest working, it's the without a doubt believing team he's had.
And the results show that. I mean, that's
it.
McGill, they beat them 21-0 at the beginning of the year. They've just dominated all these other teams that they've played against throughout the season. They've dominated their way through the playoffs. The only thing you worry about as a Catholic fan is the thoughts of what's happened in the semifinals with rematches the last couple of years and what could happen. But I think if they go play their game, here's the bottom line. This is the best they've been defensively in any of these years. And I think that, that's what plays. Coach Horn talked about all the time. Coach Benefield talks about it. Coach Curtis talked about all these greats that we've had in the state. Coach Anderson. all of them have talked about you got to be able to play defense in the postseason, and this is the best defense that Catholic has put out there in a long time.
I agree with that. I don't know if they're man for man better, but I think as a unit they're better.
Yeah, they just play better together. So.
They don't have a Bull Dudley, but they got several guys that's going to get the job done. Now, here's the scary part. Here's the fly in the ointment. If I walked up to you 5, 6, 7 weeks ago and I said, hey, you're about to face a team that has beat Handley and Jackson in the playoffs, your ears would go from here to here immediately.
Well, not automatically have said, okay, so they're playing Andalusia.
Yep. Or maybe Bibb County, maybe Jacksonville.
Yeah, maybe.
But if somebody said, no, it's Booker T. Washington, you'd be like, what? But I don't care who it is. If I told you this team had beat Handley and Jackson in consecutive weeks, your ears would have been like you'd be like.
Well, not only that, they beat American Christian in the first round.
ACA.
Too. Yeah.
ACS, right. But you would be like, whoa, wait, what? That's who we're playing? The names would start coming in your head. But I guarantee you on that list of names, they would be last or next to last.
Yeah.
But guess what? They ain't. Mm-hmm. So that shows a team that's steadily gotten better all year. So I'm telling you, Caleb, he's got this one circled. I love Juice like a brother, and I know him like a brother. He is like a brother. Like I could call him right now and say, hey, come to Gadsden, pick us up, we got a flat tire. He would do it.
Yeah.
But he's got this one circled because he realizes they've beat Jackson and they beat Handley in consecutive weeks.
I would love to know from Coach O'Neill with Booker T how much that Pike, they competed very well with Pike Road at the end of the year in that Week 10 game. And then now we see, we're going to talk about
Coach
Pike
O'Neill's
Road.
legacy.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about Pike Road in a little bit because they're in the semifinals of 6A. I wonder how much that game helped this Booker T team with confidence of, hey, if we can play with them, we can go play with anybody. And now you can kind of see how they've gotten going here in the playoffs. And there's a lot of people from up around our region that should remember, if you're old enough, Gadsden High School, Coach Vince DiLorenzo, and what they did, they were 4-6. They got on a run. It's possible. And so going to be very interesting to see how Catholic handles this game. Bo, big one here, Cherokee County. They're traveling to Westminster Christian. They're, surprisingly to me, Cherokee County's a 17-point favorite in this game. I would have to think Coach Kelly's not too happy with that. I'm sure that one's not really on the bulletin board this week because they're going to go against probably the best quarterback, and this no offense to the player at Fort Payne either. They're probably going to go against the best quarterback they faced all year.
If this kid was 6'3", he would be a 5-star.
Yeah, he might be the number 1 quarterback in the country this year. Yeah.
If he's 6'3". Yeah. Unfortunately, he's not 6'3", he's 5'8". Coach Kelly's going to treat him like he's 6'3". And you're right, like the bulletin board material's there. I never speak on it. I never take pictures of it. I'm just saying that there's some things there. That's all I say, and Coach Kelly can back me on that. And anybody that knows me knows that I'll never take pictures of bulletin board or whatever. But I will tell you this, if you are a fan of Cherokee County, listen to me, and you listen to me really good. When this kid, number 2, gets under center from Westminster or in the shotgun, you better circle him because I'm going to tell you why. Here's why. On the season, Caleb, he's completed 152 out of 230 passes for 1,691 yards. He's averaging 11.7 yards every time he lets the ball go from his arm for 26 touchdowns, and he's only turned it over 5 times with 5 interceptions. That's a fantastic numbers. Those are state numbers.
Really good. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Here's where he separates himself. If it breaks down and he has to run, he's ran the ball 200 times for 2,213 yards. He's averaging 11.1 yards per carry for 36 touchdowns. This dude, by himself, has 62 total touchdowns on the year. He's number 2. His last name's Mush. He's the quarterback from Westminster. If you're a Cherokee County fan, across the board, you've got to find him. If you're a player, I ain't even got to tell you what you got to do. But now, that's going to be countered with what Cherokee County does defensively. And let me run through that real quick. Cherokee County on the season is only allowing 11.5 points per game. So something has to give there. They're going to lean on Jacob Cornejo like never before. Give me this. Jacob Cornejo like never before. On the season, Cornejo, 250 carries, 2,500 yards, 10 yards per carry, 31 touchdowns. Are y'all hearing what I'm telling you? This dude is an animal. The scary part is the guy across the field from him has 2,200 yards, 11 yards a carry, 36 touchdowns just rushing. Then he's thrown for 1,691 and 26 touchdowns. And that's no shot at Jacob Cornejo. It's just telling you what you're about to face.
No doubt.
Caleb, I ain't got nothing else to say about this game, but I honestly know what Cherokee County has up front on both sides, and that's going to be a big, big problem. That's what's not circled in these stats, is what Cherokee puts out offensively and defensively line-wise, and that's going to be a big, big problem for Westminster Christian. That's why that line is what it is.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a lot of fun on Friday night. I can see that game being, as Lee Corso likes to say, a lot closer than the experts think. So
could be.
We'll see how it goes. Eufaula, they're going to be taking on Gulf Shores. Look, it's no knock on Eufaula in this one, Bo, but there's really not a ton of point in spending a lot of time on this game. This Gulf Shores team has been dominant. And it's a Eufaula team that has gotten to this point, but they've kind of also struggled their way to get to this point here in the postseason.
Yeah, here's the thing about Eufaula. They got a couple of guys that have really had outstanding seasons. Red Harris is one of them. He's got 158 receiving yards on the season. He's got 58 receptions on the season for 933 yards and 9 touchdowns. You got Mr. Milton, who's had 51 receptions for 1,166 yards on the season and 8 touchdowns. But at the end of the day, it's all about Gulf Shores. If Gulf Shores shows up and does what Gulf Shores is supposed to do, they're going to win this football game. Mm-hmm. They're a big favorite for a reason. All the talks about Ronnie Royal across the board, and it should be. He's the best football player on the team.
It should be, but if you look at his numbers, he hadn't had to carry this team or anything.
No, he hadn't. And they've spread Ronnie Royal out.
Yeah.
But there's a kid on the team that you do need to pay attention to. His name's Colin Wilson. On the season, Caleb, he's had 177 carries for 1,647 yards and 25 touchdowns. So he's the guy at Gulf Shores, running back, that you really got to pay attention of. But here's the deal. I think Gulf Shores has done a phenomenal job of not only harnessing all this negativity they got, I think they're using it as fuel. Mm-hmm. It's like they got a fire burning, like this fireplace beside us, and they're taking this negativity. Y'all are cheating. Y'all are doing this. Y'all are doing that. The state ain't said nothing.
Yeah. They're
taking it all, and they're putting it in there, and they got a fire blaze. A fire which could lead them to a 5A state championship.
No doubt. And
now, Ramsey or Gunners is going to have something to say about that, and you follow this week. But if it happens, it happens.
Yeah. And they will have earned it. I mean, you can say whatever you want about them, but you still got to play well as a team. You can go recruit the best players. I mean, Texas A&M signed the #1 class. Guess what? They fired Jimbo Fisher this year. Yeah. So you still got to get the guys to play well. Yeah, I'll take his buyout too. We wouldn't be here recording right now.
I would hire somebody. We would be here recording, but it wouldn't be me and him.
It's important too when you talk about they've been able to use Ronnie Royal on defense because they haven't had to count on him on offense as much.
Right.
That's helped this team as much as anything this year. So going to be interesting. We talked with Coach Reese a little bit about this game earlier, Bo, but talk to us a little bit about your opinion on Guntersville Ramsey. I did the game, like I mentioned earlier, and talking to Coach Reese. Look, it's a Rams team. They got a lot of athletes. There's no secret about it. Cameron Keenan at quarterback is very good. He's got probably the biggest arm in the state. And I know that's saying a lot because we've got some really good quarterbacks. But I'm telling you, if you watch the game Friday night, you'll see this dude flicks his wrist and it goes 50, 55 yards in the air. I mean, it's unbelievable. I did his game live at Legion Field against Winona earlier this year, and he threw one over the middle where me and Mickey Shadracks that were doing the game together, we kind of looked at each other and was like, we ain't seen a high school kid throw a ball that hard. I'd love to see him pick up a baseball and throw it off the mound. I bet he could throw 90 to 95. I mean, I'm sure it'd get up there. He's got a big arm. He's got great athleticism. If you don't know, his brother, Tim Keenan, plays on the defensive line in Alabama, number 96. He's kind of taken over this year and kind of become the dude up front. So he's got it in his genes. And they've gotten him running the football now. Listen to this. He only had 6 carries for 44 yards all season going into last week. And he ran for over 100 yards in last week's game. So similar to Alabama with Jalen Milroe this year. He had not run all year, and all of a sudden the LSU game comes around and they start taking off, and you go, whoa, okay, this changes the offense. Well, that's what kind of Ramsey did last week. He started running the ball, and you go, man, this just adds another dynamic you have to worry about because they have Ashton Ashford coming back at running back. He was the MVP of last year's 5A state championship game. Coach talked about it earlier. They got number 5 in the slot. He's a playmaker. He's a punt returner that nobody on the field is going to be able to keep up with. A lot of speed for Guntersville to worry about in this game, but I think you got a Guntersville team right now, Bo, that feels like they're a team of destiny, and they've played great competition all year. They've tested themselves, and they've done it all to get ready for this moment right here to beat their 3rd straight Birmingham team in a row and get to a state championship game. And if they can do that, I know the 06 team won it and all that stuff. This would have to go down as it'd be a top 3 Guntersville football season of all time.
First of all, with the way the era is now, this would be the greatest Guntersville team ever.
I mean, yeah. I didn't want to disrespect anybody else.
I'm not disrespecting them, but I promise you, if you go nuts and bolts and how it was built and the era and everything, this right here would be more impressive.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you, brother.
Especially getting through John Carroll, Pleasant Grove, Rand, all 3 from the same region that we talked about was the best region in the state all year.
Did that team do that?
Yeah. No, I mean, they didn't have to do that.
We can find it out.
Yeah,
That's
they didn't
my
have
point.
to do that.
We can go look and find it out. Here's the thing about it. Coach Reese talked about it earlier. He's like, maybe they're not the most star-studded team, but they work their tails off. And the number one thing that I took away from his last interviews, the last 2 weeks we've had with him on the final drive and here, they turned inward. And Caleb Brooks said this, and it rings through the mountains in Guntersville. The Arab loss was the best thing that happened to them. It woke them up on another level.
I think not only did it wake them up, Bo, it took some of the pressure of going undefeated off of them as well.
100%. Because they were feeling themselves after Scottsboro. Yeah. Because nobody had solved that Scottsboro puzzle.
Yeah.
At the time, Scottsboro was averaging 54 a game, running the flex bone triple option. They held them 7 and won the game. Was it 7?
Yeah. No, the 26.
6.
Yeah.
6. So they held on a team that's averaging 54 to 6, running a flex bone, which you cannot prepare for in 1 week, but they did and was successful. So then they held them to 6, won the game. So then they're playing a foe that you could tell by talking to them, they tasted this victory. Well, they didn't get it. And it was embarrassing
and could have folded.
And it was embarrassing to them, but it was the best thing, dude. It's like the hot girl in high school you want to date, but you never get her, and God's like, bro, trust me on this. You don't understand. She's the hottest girl in school, and you want to date her so bad. But then you see her life unfold, and you see the way your life unfolds, and you understand why he didn't put you there. Same thing in this scenario. Now, I'm not saying God's favoring Guntersville. I know how fans are when they watch our show. They're like, you're saying God favored. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that loss to Arab helped. Now, Caleb, throw this at you. Y'all have already broke this game down, so I don't have to break it down, but I seen something that's eerily similar right here. Ready? Here we go. Guntersville on the season is averaging 32.2 points per game offensively, allowing 11.4. Ramsey on the season is averaging 38.1, allowing 11.2. Very similar. The difference is Ramsey's playing Parker and all these other teams, Auburn non-region games.
Hueytown.
All right, all that is fantastic, and they've earned those numbers. What Guntersville's done to earn their numbers is beat these 2 Birmingham teams back-to-back, one of which nobody, the procrastinators, showed me a procrastinator last week, or what do they call them?
From what?
They're not procrastinators. There's another word for them that picks games. It's not procrastinators.
Prognosticators?
Yeah, there you go. How do you pronounce it?
Prognosticators.
I can't pronounce it. But show me one of them that picked Guntersville last week. And then if you do show me one of them, show me one that says they're going to win by double digits.
Yeah.
So,
and not only that, but be down in the 4th quarter and win by double digits for the 2nd week in a row.
So it's beautiful. Yeah. So now here, I'm going to say this, and we're shutting this game down, I promise. I've got to go watch basketball tonight. Listen to me, Caleb. If I'm Reese, I'm calling, you don't even believe what I'm about to tell you, I'm calling Jeremy Sullivan at Boaz. And I know people watching this like, what is wrong with this guy? Why is he saying that? Here's why I'm calling. Because they had a team meeting when they had a losing record this season. And he said, you know what? We've got to let go. We've got to turn it loose. We've got to let go. We've got to play loose. We're playing too tight. You know what I'm saying? I talked to Shay Monroe during this time. We talked to Coach Sullivan during this time. Coach Sullivan did a good job of saying, hey, guys, look, we're too uptight. You know, we got to play loose. What does Guntersville have to lose? First of all, you're not hosting. There's a little bit of pressure in hosting. You're at Legion Field. Nobody's giving you a chance. You've already beat 2 Birmingham teams back-to-back. How much more validation do you need? Turn it loose. Turn it loose.
Yeah.
Turn it loose. 30 years from now, when you're on your porch with your grandchildren, don't look them in their eyes and lie to them and say you gave everything you have. Say, hey, we went out there and by God, I'm telling you, we gave everything we had. Win, lose, or draw. Don't look at them and lie to them. Turn it loose.
And here's another thing, too. The game's going to be at Legion Field. While that part's cool, it ain't going to be that big of a home field advantage for Ramsey.
No.
The place is so big. It's hard for it to get that
Caleb,
loud.
The first fan that has any noise is 25 to 30 yards away from the field. Am I lying?
No, yeah. So that's what, I mean, I think that's going to help.
Me and you've done tons of games there.
Yeah. It's going to be up to the players on Friday night. It's going to be those players on the field.
Right.
The fans are not going to have it. The band's not going to have any implications.
You'll hear them in the background.
But it's not like it is at a high school stadium where it's so close and confined and
Listen to me.
all that. So
don't lie to your grandkids 30 years from now. When they ask you, how did your season go your senior year, and you say, hey, we played in Legion Field and we played Ramsey, who nobody gave us a chance, don't lie to them. Give them everything you got. Period.
Moving on to 6A, you know, I would love to see the Benjamin Russell Wildcats playing here, Bo, but either way, it wouldn't matter if it was Benjamin Russell, Pike Road. They're going to have their work cut out for them playing against the Saraland team. They showed that last week, beating a very good Hillcrest Tuscaloosa team by 10. They get this game at home this week, and it's just going to be hard to go down to Mobile for Pike Road and beat Saraland.
It is, Caleb, and I'm telling you this right now. Me and you called for that game all year, and I think Hillcrest showed up and made us not look like two idiots.
They played as well as they could.
Me and you said this is the one team that's going to give them what they want, which is a 4-quarter game. They did that. But Saraland does what champions do. They went on and they won the game, and they won it by double digits. So hats off to them. You know, I'm not picking against them anymore. We didn't pick against them. We just said that would be a team that could stand up against them.
Hillcrest could beat them.
Right. Here's why they did not beat them. It don't matter what you do. It don't matter how you schematically scheme this guy up. Ryan Williams, Caleb, I just, until you see him with your 2 eyes, don't even watch film. When you on a sidelines and you watch this guy on the football field, you do not have any idea what you're seeing until you see it with your own 2 eyes.
Yeah. I mean, they don't play the same position.
Have you seen nobody like him?
No, I mean, they don't play the same position, but do you remember how Reggie Bush looked against
Yes.
their college? I mean, that's what Ryan Williams looked like against his high school players. I mean,
He's in another gear, and his
he
vision
just runs by them. He can stop and go.
Look,
on a dime.
Caleb,
I
he
mean,
can go in and come out and make guys dive in
Yeah.
and then go around them. It's like Tyreek Hill with I mean, I hate to say it, but the best vision I've seen the last 10, 15 years in high school is Trent Davis from Etowah. You just either have it or you don't have it, period. Mm-hmm. Trent Davis has the best, like Trent would set up. I mean, if you've ever seen Trent Davis play, he's got that Trent Davis vision with like Tyreek Hill explosion, with like Reggie Bush moves. Like it's just hard to explain. Listen to these numbers, Caleb. And he's not played in how many fourth quarters? I think he's played 1 or 2 fourth quarters.
2 fourth quarters.
2 fourth quarters all year. He's carried the ball 24 times, 6 touchdowns.
For 200, I mean, averaging 10 yards carry, yeah.
For 235 yards, all right? He's passed it 2 times. One of those went for a touchdown. On the year, he's had 55 receptions for 1,000 yards, averaging 18.5 yards per reception at 16 touchdowns. But people don't realize he does not play past the second quarter. Yeah. This is a half a year's stats.
I mean, they've been beating people 55-3.
And he's not by himself over there no more.
They've had 2 games this year where they scored all 10 times that they possessed the ball and scored 70 points. Think about that. They've had 2 games where they possessed it 10 times, scored all 10 times, and scored 70 points in 2 different games this year.
Caleb, I'm going to tell you this, and we can move on. We're almost done. Pike Road is in trouble.
Yeah.
The reason they're in trouble, They're lucky to get past Benjamin Russell. Benjamin Russell gave them all they wanted. They did win that game. I'll give them credit for that.
Yeah, Benjamin Russell made a lot of mistakes in that game too to help.
And here's your reward. You're playing Saraland.
Yeah.
And Caleb,
I kind of joked to my dad. I said, "Look, one of the positives is save y'all a trip down to Mobile to go play that team because."
Caleb, they're giving up 22 points per game.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
No, it's a problem against this team.
It's a problem when you're averaging an offense that's averaging 52 points per game.
But I think on top of that, I think Pike Road's going to struggle to score against them too.
You in 53 games.
There's a reason that this line is 25 points. And,
second highest line of the week.
I'm very good friends with Granger Shook. My father-in-law works with his dad. I know Granger Shook very well. I don't mean this as any offense to him, his program. It's his first year there. So you give him a couple more years, he's going to have 5A a couple years ago. Well, they've made the jump up to 6A, and they kind of struggle. Work cut out for them this week. This is a very good high school football team. It's one of the, it may be the best high school football team that we've seen since Viger won that national championship back in, 1989 or whatever it was, 1988.
I mean, you could throw some of these Thompson teams in there, but they'd be in the argument. I mean, I don't think anybody's going to fight you if you said they're the best team in the state this year. Maybe some Central Phoenix fans. I think
maybe some Clay Chalkville fans.
Maybe, but at the same time, I think both of those two teams are going to say, well, we're weak here in this area. Show me an area Saraland's weak in.
Yeah, they're not weak in any area.
That's what I'm saying.
Parker, they're traveling to your first round game that saw Parker win 7-6. It was drench, downpour. Well, guess what, Bo? We got 78% rain on Friday night as Parker goes to Clay Chalkville again. Look, they're very good up front. They got 2 SEC defensive linemen. They got another kid that's going to be the #1 athlete in the whole country, not just the state, but the whole country next year, back in the secondary.
He texted me last week.
Oh, really? Yeah.
He asked for the pictures that Josh took.
Yeah.
I sent them to him, but go ahead.
But, it tells you how talented they are on the defensive side of the ball. If it is raining, here's the biggest issue that I have with Clay Chalkville. Everybody all year, we've been wanting this matchup, especially after saw them beat Thompson. Saraland, Clay Chalkville, that's what people have talked about. Can Mbakwe do enough at the quarterback position to score points on this Parker team and be able to win the football game? That's the question, because we just talked about how good Ramsey was earlier. This Parker defense held them to 17 points. And, Pleasant Grove, they were great on offense all year. They held them to 22. I know they lost the game, but they held them to 22 that night. Nobody else held them to 22 besides Ramsey. So can Clay Chalkville produce enough on offense with – Mbakwe can throw it a little bit, but let's be honest, they need to run the football in order to be able to throw the football. Can they do enough in the run game with him against this front after last year to be able to win this football game? 16's a lot to me. If you could bet on this game, I would take plus 16 from Parker. I just think 16's a lot of points in this game considering they beat them last year. We're looking at it possibly raining again, and I just don't know if Clay Chalkville can throw the football well enough to get this defense off of them and be able to move around this front from Parker on Friday night.
Jeremiah Beeman versus the Oregon guy. I don't know the Oregon guy's name. That's going to be a matchup, right? So that's going to be a key matchup in this game. And you talked about Mbakwe, his playmaking ability. It probably enhances in the rain. Mm-hmm. It probably helps.
And Clay. He didn't play quarterback in this game a year ago. Just for record. They moved him to quarterback this year because
they needed
of this game last year.
They needed a playmaker. Now, if you look at Clay only gives up 10.4 points per game. If you look at Parker, they give up 12.9. So that's tick for tack. They both played unbelievable schedules.
I would also argue that Parker played a better schedule, though. I know they played Thompson. I know they played Mountain Brook in the postseason. Parker played Mountain Brook in the regular season. They played Ramsey. I would just argue that Parker maybe played a little bit better schedule during the year.
You might be spot on right there. Let me look at something right fast. So Parker's opponents' records is 71.
10, 9, ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff.
For the final time in the 2023 season, we come to you on a Friday night, tonight from Gadsden, as a rematch awaits two of the top teams in Class 1A. The Pickens County Tornadoes make their way up to Philip Ellen Field here in Gadsden tonight along I-759 to take on the Coosa Christian Conquerors, as Coosa Christian with a win would make their first ever trip to the Super 7. Pickens County making their 8th consecutive appearance in the 1A semifinals. And we welcome you in. A happy Friday and a happy game day wherever you are watching us from on the FNN High School Football Game of the Week and the NFHS Network. Our playoff presentation presented by Bama Chance, and tonight's Game of the Week by D&G Roofing Contractors. James Hardy, Coach Eddie Bullock, and our FNN crew with you. And, Coach, of course, that goal, as you know all too well, when it comes to the start of the season and really over the course of spring and fall practice, is to get in position for a state championship. And we have two teams that certainly know what it's like and have that experience, and they're looking to take their final step as far as getting to the state championship tonight.
Well, you know, one of my friends told me in order to get it to the state championship, you got to get in. So the semifinals, it's a game that you get an opportunity to get in, and if you don't get in, you don't have a chance to win it. So, you know, congratulations to both teams for making it thus far, and you know, somebody gonna be happy tonight, and somebody gonna be a little sad.
I'll tell you what, for both of these teams, really, they've experienced some adversity over the course of the season. Of course, Coosa Christian's adversity has been well documented as far as off the field when it comes to what the Alabama High School Athletic Association decided to do as far as their ruling in September. But you have to give Marco Bryant and his players a lot of credit for how they've responded to that adversity and really dominated their schedule since.
Well, you face adversity throughout the season, and that's just a testament to the coach, how well he has his team prepared, and you know how well they are able to rebound back. You know, situations just happen, man. You just got to fight through.
Absolutely, and Coach Mark O'Brien wants his team as far as to play a clean game to eliminate the penalties that they've had really all season long. They've had over 100 yards in penalties for 2 consecutive weeks in the postseason. But as we look across the sideline, Coach, as far as Michael Williams, of course, one of Nick Saban's really premier tight ends when you look at that group of tight ends, along with O.J. Howard during the Saban era of Alabama football. Michael Williams was a 3-time national championship tight end from 2009 to 2012 and was a great blocking and receiving tight end for the Crimson Tide. He took over the Pickens County football program after spending his time in the NFL in 2018. And you look at just the consistency that Pickens County has displayed, not only in Michael Williams' tenure, but over really the last better part of a decade to 15 years. They've won a state championship in 2013, but they've also been now, including this year, to the semifinals in 8 consecutive seasons.
Well, man, it speaks to the testament, the program that he played for, and you know, by being in the NFL, putting in the time, it's just representation of what he stands for. You know, to be in there, it's unreal. You know, for certain programs to be in there 8 consecutive times, you know, to the semis, and that's, hats off to him for being able to do such a fantastic job.
Now, Michael Williams wants to see his team compete and get off to a better start than they did last week in what was a thrilling come-from-behind 18-14 win for Pickens County, a game in which they scored the winning touchdown in the final 45 seconds at home against Wadley. We'll take the timeout, and we'll take a look as far as the state championship road across the state of Alabama semifinal Friday for classes 1 through 6A, as you are watching the FNN High School Football Game of the Week brought to you by D&G Roofing.
It's game day, and from all of us at Bucks Island,
from the Loft Tackle Store,
from the team in service,
from the team in parts,
from the sales team,
from the Bucks Island family, good luck and go get 'em, boys.
Treating our customers the way we want to be treated since 1948. BucksIsland.com or call 1-800-I'm-READY. Let our team help you win on the water.
That Joe Biden and Hunter Biden were paid $10 million in bribes.
The floodgates are literally open here.
Mike Rogers is standing up to crooked Joe Biden in D.C. Mike Rogers is our way of fighting back.
Bama Sheds and Pole Barns, locally and family owned with the best customer service. Custom built to fit your needs with free delivery and setup. Design and price online or stop by and see what we can do for you. Nobody beats our prices and nobody beats our quality. Built in Alabama, made in Alabama. BamaSheds.com.
SNH Waterproofing brings you our countdown to kickoff. D&G Roofing, our final FNN High School Football Game of the Week of the 2023 season. James Hardy, Coach Eddie Bullock, as well as our very own Jim Jacobs, because it's time to take a look at some of the final games in the state of Alabama.
Coach, the road's getting short.
Absolutely. It's very short.
All right, we're going to start with 1A because that's where we are tonight. And, of course, that's because the first one in the list here. Leroy and Elba in the South. Coach, what have you heard about either one of these teams?
Well, I know Leroy traditionally has a good program, and I really don't know a whole bunch about Elba. I hadn't followed them too much. But for them to be in the semis, I know they got to be doing something right. So I think it's going to be a great game.
Yeah, we'll deal with Coosa Christian and Pickens County here coming up in just a couple of minutes. Let's slide on up to 2A. I think maybe the best game in the state tonight could be the one down at Legion Stadium in Sylacauga. Unbeaten B.B. Comer, unbeaten Reeltown. Coach, both of these are incredible teams.
Right, incredible teams, incredible programs, and, Reeltown has a track record, and of course, B.B. Comer, they want to win. They got an opportunity last year, and, I think they want to complete the task. So, I think you're looking for a great game tonight.
Yeah, I think so, too. And, of course, up in the north, Fife and Pisgah, the rematch. Fife won it earlier in the season. They're both from the same region. Coach, how do you get your team to play up to a team that you've already beaten once?
Hey, you got to sell out, Jim. You got to do everything, you can. And speaking in terms, I think Fife kind of have the edge, but Pisgah, in terms of me talking about selling out, Pisgah just going to have to go out and, hey, they're going to have to do everything they can, man. There's nothing to lose. And, even though you lost one time, you can always – you just got to be better than them one night.
That's it, one night. Of course, tonight it's at Fife. Red Devils look good in that one to me. They'll get the winner of Comer and Reeltown.
Right.
Let's slide on up to 3A. Mobile Christian and St. James in the South. Don't know a lot about either one of them. James, maybe you do.
Well, remember, St. James actually defeated Piedmont in the 3A state championship game last season. There you see came up with a very impressive win on the road at Thomasville last week. So they'll still have an uphill climb against the top team in Class 3A in Mobile Christian, but St. James coming in with a lot of confidence off of a big quarterfinal round win last week.
And, of course, Madison Academy, not the Madison Academy of old, but they're in the semifinals, Coach, on the road tonight at Geraldine.
Right, and as you mentioned, Madison Academy, they are not the traditional Madison Academy, but for some reason I'm thinking Geraldine has a chance, because they're not the typical Madison Academy.
All right, let's slide on up to Class 4A now in the South. Montgomery Catholic in a region rematch with BT Washington. They've already beat them once, Coach, and of course we saw them last week. I'm telling you, Catholic was, to me, one of the most impressive teams we saw all year.
A machine. I was extremely impressed. They was doing what they want to do so easily against a great Jacksonville team, and but I'm shocked at Booker T because they beat some good teams, man, and I think it'll be interesting, but I think Catholic is going to come out on top on that one.
Yeah, I kind of like Catholic in that one as well. What about you, James?
Yeah, I kind of agree as well, but I would not count out BT Washington tonight, so Montgomery Catholic has to be ready to play tonight.
All right, of course, in the North, Cherokee County trying to get back again. They're in the 4A North semifinals for the second year in a row. It's not Aniana tonight, though, Coach, and it's on the road at Westminster up in Huntsville.
Right, and I think that Cherokee County has the experience, with Carnejo. I think that they got the formula to do it since they've been there. But I think Westminster is a great team, so I think it's going to be rough on Cherokee County tonight.
The national anthem paid by local artist and saxophone player
Kevin Moore. Would you pray with me? Our precious Heavenly Father, God, we come to you this evening. God, we thank you for what a blessing it is to be this day, God. And God, we're asking for protection for the student athletes. Thank you for these schools. Thank you for the administration, the staff of each of these schools. And God, let us have a great time tonight. We're playing a game of football. The character that, God, we exemplify, help us to do that for your honor and glory. I pray this prayer in Jesus' name. Amen.
An outstanding rendition of our national anthem, saxophone style from Philip Ellenfield here in Gadsden. Coosa Christian hosts Pickens County, the second consecutive season that these two teams have met in the semifinal round of the 1A playoffs. As we take a look at the brackets for semifinal Friday across the state of Alabama, and we look to the 5A semifinals. First in the South Division, Gulf Shores against Eufaula.
Well, I think Gulf Shores is they count on a roll and they're on a mission. They look well early, and I think Eufaula has a great team, but I think Gulf Shores may have the edge on them tonight.
I think you're right about that, Eddie. As we also take a look at the North Division, Ramsey, that's been a powerhouse in 5A the last few seasons, takes on really an upstart Guntersville program as far as getting this deep in the postseason.
And Ramsey has the experience, having so many trips to the playoffs and going deep. But, hey, don't sleep on Gunnersville now because they look good.
I think it may be kind of a similar tale as far as Ramsey-Gunnersville that Montgomery Catholic might have with BT Washington tonight down in Montgomery. But I'd still expect the experience to win out for Ramsey.
Yeah, I think Ramsey's headed to either Gulf Shores or Eufaula in the Super 7. That one to me is kind of a toss-up, although it's at Gulf Shores, so that should favor the Dolphins tonight in Class 5A. All right, Class 6A in the South, Saraland. Everybody thinks they're invincible, Coach. Pike Road gets their shot tonight.
Well, Pike Road, hey, they've done wonders in the past. I watched them a couple of years ago when they won the state, and they look terrific. But I'm kind of like everybody else. I think Saraland may have the edge on them tonight.
Yeah, I think Saraland has the edge on them as well. But I tell you what, this Clay Chalkfield-Parker matchup may be one of the most intriguing in the state tonight.
Right. I think Parker has the athletes to get it done, but Clay Chalkfield looks extremely good. I watched him early, and anybody can beat Thompson, capable of beating anybody.
Yeah, that's kind of what I think, Coach. I'm with you on that one. It's going to be a tough night to try to take out this team from Ramsey. I mean from Parker. The herd is thundering, no question. All right, guys. Well, let's take a quick look at 7A for next week. Of course, it's already settled. Central Phoenix City will face Thompson in the finals at the Super 7. That's Wednesday night's game that we'll have for you, the audio from the AHSAA network right here on FNN. Who do you like in that one, Coach?
Well, Central Phoenix City, they got a strong team. I just think Thompson may have an edge as far as experience, man. Being there, they've been there and done that, and, hey, like we said, in order to beat a man, you got to beat the man. So I'm leaning toward the experience.
I'll have to go with Central Phoenix City. I think they've just been consistently the best team in 7A this year.
All right, well, there you have it. Those are the brackets. Guys, we're ready for the game, and, of course, you know what that means. It's what we came here for tonight, the rematch of 1A North from last year, Pickens County and Coosa Christian. And, Coach, this will be the first time you've seen the Conquerors in person, and I'm telling you, this is a nasty bunch, isn't it, James?
It absolutely is, especially along the line of scrimmage. This may be one, in addition to Cherokee County, Coach, one of the most physical teams we've seen all season long.
Well, I watched them on film a couple of times, and they definitely look like a team on a mission.
In fact, there you take a look, our first look at the captains tonight for Mark O'Brien's Coosa Christian Conquerors, as they'll have DJ Mackey along with Kylan Johnson, Kenan Wilson, and Josh Hester as their quartet of captains tonight. We'll be hearing in just a little bit from referee Kevin Anderson as far as emceeing the coin toss duties for tonight's 1A North semifinal from Gadsden. A rematch from last season, as Honey Baked Ham invites you to go ahead and put your Christmas ham orders in with them, as they'll present our toss of the coin and captain's meeting for this 1A semifinal.
Well, guys, game number 17 of the year. Let's have a good one. You folks enjoy yourselves.
Absolutely. So there you see the quartet of captains. And
that
we'll
game starts up, okay?
Anderson.
All right, guys, y'all come in here and shake hands.
Good luck, dog. Good luck, good luck. Good luck, dog. Good luck, man. Good luck, man.
All right, guys, the first thing I want to do is congratulate you all in making it this far into the playoffs. You'll played an outstanding season. Let's finish it out with a great game tonight, okay? Second thing I want to do is congratulate all of you as being selected a captain for this game, okay? This is a great honor. Being a captain doesn't just mean you're one of the best players. It means that you're a leader. I want you to show leadership out here tonight. Let's have a good game, show good sportsmanship, help your teammates off the ground, help the other team off the ground. If y'all see your teammates out there doing something they shouldn't be doing, we need you guys to help us get that stuff cleaned up, okay? Pickens, being that you guys are the visiting team, I'm gonna let you call a toss. Have a coin here. The Eagle is heads, National Guard says tails. Eagle is heads, National Guard tails. I want you to go ahead and call the toss now.
Tails.
Tails is the call. And it is heads. Coosa, you guys have won the ball. You want the ball. Pickens, you guys get to choose what end of the field you want to defend. You can point towards the scoreboard. All right, you guys put your backs over here. Coosa, put your backs over here. Coosa has won the toss and is elected to receive down at this end zone. You guys shake hands. Let's have a good, clean game.
And there you see the honey-baked ham coin toss as Coosa Christian wins the toss, and they will decide to take the football to begin tonight's semifinal round game. And let's go ahead and get Coach Eddie Bullock's keys as we'll take a look at our keys for tonight's game. And I know one of your areas, obviously, in every game is along that line of scrimmage. And when you look at Pickens County, that's a must as far as holding their own along the line of scrimmage.
Absolutely. And I tell you one you touched on earlier, both of these teams being penalized a lot. It's going to boil down to the team tonight that has the less amount of penalties because when you're in a game of this magnitude, you just can't get those penalties. They hurt you, and both of them you can't dig a hole too deep to try to get out of at this level of play.
And without question, and both of these coaches, Marco Bryant for Coosa Christian and Pickens County's Michael Williams, have been very high on the athleticism, and Santonio Jones for Pickens County, one of the top athletes in 1A. He needs a big game tonight. Pickens County wants to get the W.
Right. He's going to have to make sure that he get some big plays, get them early. But, of course, he's going against a tough defense and a nasty defense. So, from what I saw on film, so.
Both teams make their way out onto the field. We had some rain earlier today, in fact, for much of the morning today. But at least the rain has cleared off for now, and we should be able to get this game in all dry this evening. Now, walking on the field about 90 minutes before game time, the field was a little bit slick, but actually in pretty good shape considering the amount of rain that this area of Alabama has had for much of the day. Our game time temperature at 57 degrees and should be in that upper 50s mark and actually warm up to about 60 by the time this game comes to an end. Our final game here on the FNN High School Football Game of the Week for the 2023 season. We welcome you aboard on the NFHS Network. The 1A semifinals between Coosa Christian and Pickens County, Part 2 for the second year in a row. Gardens on Air presents our kickoff, and it will be Pickens County set to kick off. One of the captains in R.J. Cunningham will boot things away. Also the captains for Pickens County this evening, Caleb Hill, Santonio Jones, along with Cunningham and Kamarian Plott. So it'll be Pickens County set to kick things away to begin the semifinal round. The winner will go on to play either Leroy or Elba at Bryant-Denny Stadium next Thursday at 3 o'clock for the 1A state championship. You'll have Kylan. It's our first Friday night game of the 2023 season as Snow Timber Company presents tonight's FNN High School Football Game of the Week as the Vincent Yellow Jackets make the trip up Highway 231 and 144 to Joan Ford Stadium as they'll take on the Purple Devils of Raglan High School for both teams'